Look how Jim Carrey you're on. He's into non-duality now. He's running around telling everybody he's nobody. Doesn't know who is. Jim Carrey is a character playing characters. It's great. Good on him. How gutsy is he? Because he's not identified anymore. He's lost all his fear, so he's just saying whatever he wants. Having said that, I think he has work to, make no mistake, but he's flip-flopping and he's very courageous. He's courageous to even do what he does in the first place. And then this has arisen and he's started having glimpses and he's just saying it how it is on the world stage. And everybody loves Jim. So it's a wonderful thing for non-duality, potentially. We'll see. But if anyone can find home, isn't that a beautiful thing? Isn't that a beautiful thing? Even if he influences one person, job done. That's all I'm sure he wants. Just guessing. But I've had people contacting me about it, saying, I get it now. You know, after Prince E's on the bandwagon now and a few younger influencers. So it's becoming less of this very strange thing people do. It doesn't matter. Who's here is supposed to be here. Who's there is supposed to be there. The swirling fog of the one appearing to be two. It's not. Appearing to be 10,000, it's not. Lao Tzu's the world of 10,000 things, it's not. It's an illusion. It appears to be one, it's not even one. It appears to be nothing, it's not even nothing. And it's everything. These 26 letters aren't going to cover it. Sorry. Get over it. Work it out. And no, the 40-letter alphabet won't do it either. Sorry. Just in case. I think that might be the solution.
Namaste.
Hello.
That
You've got some front lighting today. It's very nice. It's good to see you properly.
I bought a little lamp at the down at the shed there. Yes.
Good for you. Good for you. Took time, but I'm glad it arrived.
Well, actually, I reckon that camera angle is probably more suitable. It makes us feel like we're looking up to you.
No, that's not what I want. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to look up at. Don't ever look up. Look across. Look across.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Merge.
Yeah, cool.
Don't look up. That's a mistake. That's a religion thing, you know. Not what we do here. It's a one. It's all one. Okay. Yeah, anyway. But thank you. I'll take it as a compliment because that's what you're supposed to do. Let's carry on.
So
just for fun.
School holidays, as you know, I've had a 5-year-old joined to the hip for a couple of days now. But
could be worse. You could have been born that way.
Yeah.
So, all good. Be grateful. Anyway, carry on.
But just today, Ash said something to me that kind of opened my eyes a little. However, he said, sometimes you get angry at me, Dad. And I had to kind of apologize. But the thing is, it's not really that I get angry. It's just that he wears me down. And I think it's more of a patience thing, I think. But I just wanted to say to him, look, I'm trying to, trying to overcome that. I don't want him to see me as getting angry. Regardless, it's not real anger. It's more, just sort of frustration, patience thing. But it just made me realise.
Okay, and let's go deeper. And
yes, well, exactly. I wanted to say to him, look, I'm working on resolving that. I don't want to come across as being angry or frustrated or lacking patience towards him. But unfortunately, that's a time thing. It's going to take time, I realise.
Well, just stop it.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing you need to perhaps, here's a suggestion, is as soon as you notice your frustration coming up, have a little toolkit in place, have what you're going to do about it. You know, because you're saying, okay, it's there and it's going to take time, but I don't see any actionable plan in your methodology right now. I'm an engineer, you know, and I'm taking apart an engine from the inside out. Right? I used to work on 3-story high engines, massive. You know, and you actually did climb into them. You opened doors on the side of them and climbed into them. And so I'm taking it apart from the inside out. Okay. For that, you need methodology, don't you? You don't just go in, oh, let's just angle grind this. You work out which bolts, what power. You know, you have a methodology.
Yeah.
And you need the same to do this. Otherwise, it'll be clumsy and you'll do all sorts of harm and you won't be successful. And it'll be an ongoing thing. I'm going to take that engine apart one day. It'll take time. And that'll become the story. And then in the future, it'll still take time. And in the future, it'll still take time.
True.
Understand? So, yeah, it might not be immediate, but let's not curse ourselves, let's say. Huh? But let's start putting systems in place instead. Instead of cursing, let's put systems in place and forget about time.
For sure.
Yeah, I know I do say it takes time, but it also may not, like anything. Okay, so let's just put systems in place and do it in the now. So do you have any ideas what you could do? I mean, there's going to be different situations where you can't escape. I'm assuming. You're it. You can't tell him to drive off somewhere and go grab a beer or something and work out what you're up to, mate. So, you know, you're going to be trapped with him for time. So you're going to have to put some strategies in play, no?
Yeah.
The first thing is I think you're going to have to notice the arising in you nice and early instead of at the last minute when it's about to erupt out of you. Because it will start earlier. Do you notice it starting?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this morning it was from the get-go. I was a bit tired and stuff, and he wanted to get up, and it was kind of a relentless day. However, I took him out for a while just so that when he's in the back seat of the car, it's sort of not so bad, you know. So he went out and did.
Well, here's an idea that's coming to me. Just an idea is this: what if you got him on board and says, "You don't like me getting angry"? It's just an idea. See how it sits. You don't like me getting angry. How about I let you know when I'm starting to get frustrated or if I'm already grumpy or a little bit out of shape, and I'll let you know early and you'll know to back off. And we work together as a team on this, and you help me and I'll help, and it helps you. I don't know. It's just an idea. I'm not sure of your relationship with him exactly or others, but with, you know.
I reckon he would understand that.
You can give it a go, and then you can modify the course and adjust over to whatever suits the dynamic. Every dynamic's different, and I'm not in the middle of it. I'm not there for it.
Yeah, sure.
But if you can't escape him, why don't you see if you can get him on the team? If you don't like me getting angry, hey, I'll let you know when I'm frustrated, and see if you can practice backing off And you've also got to let go. You've got to start to notice these things arising and letting go, so that frustration doesn't build.
Yeah, I have done the surrender a couple of times, and but
just a couple of times. That sucks, doesn't it? That's terrible. Only a couple.
Well, probably more than. Okay. Once he starts tickling the feet, that gets me.
While you're sleeping, he's strapped down your legs and he's got a feather going. He's got like a Satan mask on and he's tickling your.
He knows how to push buttons.
Happy Halloween in January. Yeah.
Yeah, then I have to stop him once he starts tickling the feet.
Yeah, it's not that bad, is it? But they look that bad when we're out of shape, don't they? You know. That's the power of emotions, of this emotional body that we have. It just converts innocent little children into monsters sometimes, doesn't it? And it does that to people when we make enemies and all different things. But anyway, I just threw an idea forward. Why don't you just brainstorm and just come up with different ideas and strategies? Think of all the different scenarios, engineer it. Think of all the different scenarios that have already happened, you've been involved in, and what you could have done in each of them, and see if you can work out some sort of common strategy you can use. Well, I mean, look, surrender is the ultimate. The most important thing is you don't get angry with your children if you can help it, because it's a destroyer.
Yeah, sure.
You know, as I got taught, and it's a psychological understanding that anger is a destroyer. It destroys relationships. It destroys, you know, lifelong friendships get destroyed by one bout, you know, if they're not solid, of one outburst of anger. Marriages, you know, children's closeness.
I think that's why I brought it up, because I don't really find that I get angry with him. It's more of frustration, but he sees it as anger.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I very rarely get angry, just wound up.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. It's very hard not to. I do understand. Especially before awakening, it was extremely hard for me to stay calm, because, you know, I had similar experiences with my children where they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And the minute they see a bit of a weakness, well, sometimes one of my children would hone in on it and try to push it harder.
Yes.
So we have to be the unmoving. We have to be unmoving. We have to be the one that's still, no matter what's going on. And then I think you've already given me an example of this working for you. That stillness just dropped everything. You've already proven this once.
Yes.
Out here floating around in front of me. You've already proven this once, have you not? So use that, it's proven, and then work out some strategies while you're working on let go and noticing this stuff earlier, because as you say, it may not happen, it probably won't happen immediately. So work out some strategies, engineer it. Yeah. Look at the history, look at what's going to happen in the future, and work out what you're going to do, and then practice and adjust as required. But I think definitely staying unmoving as possible is very powerful. And then when you do speak, it's going to be heard. When you do want to put your foot down, it's going to be heard.
Yeah, sure.
You know, but you want to keep your, you know, this isn't really a self-help clinic, but we're also on this is all around the same subject. So we'll talk about it. You know what I mean? This is about you letting go. In the interim, let's not harm your relationships. You know, so this is where the strategies come in, just to. And you can work that out. You can see what worked and what hasn't and work it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Once the kids, I think, see you, they can move you, that gives them a bit of power, doesn't it? Once they see they can control your emotions, it's quite, you know.
That's right, yeah.
It can be seen as powerful by them, potentially. Like anyone that can manipulate you has a power over you to some degree, don't they?
Sure.
Whether it's a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old, if they can say certain things and do certain things that manipulate your behavior, you know, there's a string, they got you on a string a little bit, huh? So higher consciousness is those strings start to break away. You're too aware, you're too sharp in the moment. You can see it coming and you can react or act or ignore and, you know, get through situations without too much harm happening. And just as, you know, like animals can sense fear and different things in other humans without really registering it in a mind, so can humans. Humans can sense who's aware and who's sharp and who's dangerous and who's not. We still have that animalistic instinct within us. And it might not even be coming up into the conscious mind and being thought, but the actions will reflect what's being sensed. And that's what happens with bullies. They can sense weak kids, and even adult bullies can sense perceived weaker people. They're more sensitive and gentle, and they can go on the attack without even realizing they're doing it. It's just all happening on that animalistic level, and sometimes on the mental level too. So as we head up in consciousness, you know, the energy we're putting off will shift too. So these practices will help that shift. And then we have a more harmonious world. If people know not mess with us, there's harmony now. You know, it actually works on that level too. In that moment, there's not a disharmonious situation going on. So I don't want to encourage it, but it can take time, or it can happen very quickly. Your choice. How much effort are you going to put in? How much do you want this? It's going to determine your result.
Yeah, sweet.
Same as anything, right? You know, we've got the grand finals in footy, which I catch glimpses of in the headlines, so I don't watch any of that stuff really, but it quite often comes down to a mental game at the higher levels in all sports. All the top athletes seem to say the same thing. At some point, it becomes mental. It's all a mental game. When the skill sets are at a certain level, it all becomes a mental game. And that's what do you want, how much, you know, the mental strength or the willingness, the intent. And the intent in the training, how much you want something determines your results to quite a large degree. So the time factor is going to be this big flip-floppy thing that's going to drag out forever, or it's going to be determined by your intent and how you're going to engineer these situations for everyone's benefit, which will take you into higher consciousness as you keep doing this. One obstruction or one obstruction, one challenge at a time, one defense at a time, one problem at a time. Your intent determines how fast you keep it arriving at each gate, each doorway. Yeah, you can wander up and down the alleys, sometime, or you can make the intent. It's going to happen. This is happening. I'm doing it. And you do it. It's done. It's happening. And I see this in students. Some just their intent, and others just wandering up and down alleyways. And because they're wandering around, they forget, and they have to be retaught and retaught and retaught. And they want to argue because they forgot. It's difficult. It's very hard for them. Yeah. Very difficult. It's sad. It's hard to watch. The same mistakes being made over and over and over. Yeah. It doesn't need to be that way.
Cool.